I can always sell bikinis, but can I sell socks?
That's the question.
Well, we'll talk to Gary Sinise coming up. Forrest Gump, one of my favorites. Apollo 13, everyone's favorite. The Green Mile. So much.
What was the movie he did with Danny DeVito where he played like a Nazi? Like, remember what I'm talking about? It was like from like Jack the Bear.
From what year?
It was from 1993. And I remember Danny DeVito plays this like late night horror guy, like a kind of an Elvira. He introduces the crazy movies, and Gary Sinise is the neighbor, and he's really nice. But something's kind of off about him, and then he hands Danny DeVito like a pamphlet, like "Come to our meeting." Nobody remembers this movie.
I have a vague recollection of it, but not a Nazi connection.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Well, you ask him. I'm
I'd rather
doing
not.
It. All right. So let's see. Something that popped into my head. The fake Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. I'd always turn my nose up at the fake Christmas tree. I didn't like it. I didn't like what it stood for.
Literally.
I wanted the scent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The sap.
You got a tall ceiling like I got. Christmas trees are getting a little expensive these days. Yeah. And that's a lot of work and all that. But that was always kind of the point. But then what happened was fake trees started getting nice.
Yeah.
They were, when I was a kid, it just like a coat hanger, the stick that came up, and some male and female slots. And yeah, just it looked fake. And now they seem
they're very nice. Yeah. Sometimes they come with the lights already on them.
I know.
The nose at Target.
I know, and now I'm thinking, is that a good thing? Am I getting old? Are we going against the convention? How does this work? Where are you guys coming down on the fake tree?
As brought up on the show before, everything about the fake tree in the pro and the con column, everything about the fake tree is pro. Cleaner, cheaper, last years, literally last longer. You can even get them with the smell, the artificial smell, the pre-strung.
You
everything
can? You can get the smell?
Yeah, you can get the smell, or hang
some of those car fresheners.
A car freshener.
Yeah,
I think
wait,
Rich
the Playboy
DeMiro,
air freshener?
I think our former guest and my friend Rich DeMiro did a story about the trees that now have like the scent. But anyway, everything's in the pro column. You can the branches are heavier. You can put ornaments on them easier.
Well, I agree with Brian. Enough said. Next subject.
That said, there's something nostalgic about getting that tree, putting it up and hanging the tree, and then naturally you got to water it. The pain in the ass is built in.
Well,
good luck if you have an animal.
It's the pilgrimage to get the tree that we need as well.
That sounds like the fun part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're getting
pick
the
out
tree.
The tree.
Yeah, we're
whether you're
picking
going to a
out
lot,
the tree.
and we're like, oh, can we see another one? Can we see another one?
It was funny. We actually went to that big bouncy town, and we had time to kill before it was our time. So there was a big Christmas tree lot, and we went in it. And the kid goes, "Are we getting a new tree? Because we have a fake tree." And I go, "No, we're here." I had to think fast, start tap dance. I go, "We're here because we need you to tell us which one is the biggest tree and which one's the smallest tree. Go!" And I evaded that because we don't have a real tree. Of course, this is my first couple of years with a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I was thinking about how much consulting kids has gone up a whopping 7,000% in the last 25 years. Like,
I would have taken the over.
Were you consulted? Like, just take the off chance that you ever went out to a restaurant. Did
Was
you
my
get
birthday?
A vote? Were you consulted?
No. Only on your birthday.
So
Annie
crazy.
Santa Fe Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
My mean grandma took us out a couple of times, and one time I ordered tuna salad, right? Because I'm 12 years old. It's all I want to eat on the menu. It's a restaurant for old people, and I'm like, "Grandma, it doesn't taste very good." She's like, "Eat it, quiet, and eat it." And then I'm like, "All right." And so I'm forcing it down because it's all I had during the day. And at the end of the dinner, she goes, "Let me taste that." Or a lunch, she goes, "Let me taste that." And it was like, she goes, "Oh no, you shouldn't eat that. It's like it's an adult tuna salad. It had like cranberries and
capers."
Yeah, exactly. All the adult accoutrement. And I'm like, "Grandma, I tried to tell you." Shut up and eat it.
My grandmother's food thing was no one ever had to tell me to eat anything because I was ravenous all the time, and I was always hungry, and I was burning calories, and I was a big eater naturally, but I was not a big reader. So all I did all day to, like, occupy myself is like, I'll set up a broomstick over 2 chairs and see if I can jump over it and land on some pillows. I would just do it over and over and just literally run in circles on the lawn. So I was hungry and my tank was always empty. And
good combo.
When I would go to my grandparents' house, my grandmother would sit in her chair, of course, and she would sit on probably to the right of my grandfather, and I would sit to the left, and he would get the ladle out and go with the no kettle and the paprikash and stuff, and spoon up, and it'd come to me. He'd pass it to me first. He's just going clockwise. And I would just lap up everything that I was done. The rest of the plates hadn't been done going around the table yet. And I was holding the plate up like more seconds,
Oliver
My
Twist.
grandmother was always, you wait. I have not been served yet. Like, that was her thing.
Her Majesty.
And also, I mean, imagine trying to float that at my house. The kids, it's like everything all the time. But
And these days, if someone did that, you go, I may have to call Child Protective Services. Why is this child so hungry?
I got a front row seat, and unfortunately, it didn't serve me well in my adult life. But when you guys we grew up in a different time where it was always more traditional. The guy went to work, and then when he came home, had to have the supper waiting, and it was like there was some clear roles cut out. If the one person was going to go someplace all day they didn't want to be at, but they would make the money to buy the food, well, then your role was to cook the food and to make sure that things were tidy.
Jobs are divided.
Jobs were divided. But I got to tell you, when you have mean grandma who hates her work as the breadwinner, you get a front row seat to those divides and those roles. And I mean, Grandpa was running, he was scrambling, he was moving. It's just more acute, like it would be now.
Yeah.
As I've said many times, if there's a situation where a guy goes out, he's an attorney or something, makes a nice living, or a plastic surgeon or something like that, and he's got his wife who's, a lady who lunches, doing a little brunch, hanging around. No one
philanthropist.
No one calls her a pariah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't work in the other direction. The dude hanging out, going out for a 3-hour sushi lunch on a Wednesday, that just wouldn't fly. But back then, woman working, guy at home, big novelty, and it was super clear that Grandpa had to be on his game. I mean, there was nothing. You couldn't call the plumber to fix the sprinkler. That's his job. He's home.
Right.
She's working, And when it came to the meals, man, she needed to be fed when she got home. Although she would be on, I don't know if your grandmother ever did this, but she'd go on these fakakta diets. Like
no.
Never
once.
Miss Pepsi and Doritos.
This is where our grandmas diverge, man.
My grandmother was a little hippie, she had a little pear shape to her, and would announce that she was on a diet every once in a while, which then made Grandpa, he had 2 jobs now. He had to make the traditional Hungarian cuisine for himself or whoever's in it, but he had to do her diet food.
Her grapefruit and black coffee.
Too. And it was all 70s diet shit, which Vinny would never stop rolling his eyes. You told him what the plan was. Eat grapefruit and black coffee and,
2 cigarettes.
At some point, it was like the lean cuisine was in there, and it was nothing good. Of course, it never worked.
Right.
Because it couldn't work, because it was always some carb-laden thing that had nothing to do with some fake sweetener or something in it. It was, ugh. When the amount we didn't know about dieting in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the food pyramid, like everything
No,
gone.
it's wrong.
Just completely wrong.
But doesn't it scare you to us to have the hubris to say, but now we know it all? Like, oh God, what are we doing wrong?
How foolish are we looking in years?
I'm sure, but at least my mom's was always on a diet, and her thing was, you got to cut out all the fat. You got to cut out all the red meat and all the oils and all the butter and all that. And cutting out the red meat was easy because it cost something, and meat was murder and blah, blah, blah. And it was, huge piles of whole wheat pasta. You know what I mean? Like, that's my diet.
One big glycerin spike.
Oh, just a notion. Like, there is bread now that is okay and it's got some grain or some, it's got some nutritional content to it. I know we're keto people, but when I was coming up, it was either Wonder Bread, which everyone wanted. Of course, you'd never see the inside of my house.
Soft and pillowy.
That was poison. That was poison. Or it was something that just tastes like someone put a fucking pine cone in a pulverizer, like a sprouted 19 grain. You had to cut it yourself.
Amaranth.
Like they didn't have health food.
Right.
Health food was basically, it was kind of where we're at with like, a car interior. You can buy a cheap car now with a nice interior, even if it has some wood grain. The wood grain will look right.
Yeah.
Back then, it was just a plasticky mess. Like they couldn't simulate good food, health food, and it was just, and the bread was just a shit show. And it all came down to peanut butter and jelly, I think was kind of the Mason-Dixon line, because the kids that had the best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches had the Wonder Bread, they had the grape jelly, and then they had like the Peter Pan or the Skippy Smooth, they just slather it all up.
How goyish.
We had like the 14 grain sprouted bread with the unblanched, saltless, oil on top, peanut butter, which just rolled along the bread. It just rolled. You couldn't spread it. You had to take your hands and put like silly putty on the funny pages. You had to like spread it out. Then couldn't have the jelly. The man made that. Had to do the honey. And it was like honey and the unsalted, shitty, raw peanut butter with the 7 grain bread. It was just like someone just shit in your mouth. It was a disaster. And you'd sit next to the kid at the lunch bag. He had the white one with the jelly on it.
Oozing jelly. No, white bread never saw the inside of our home. We were a whole wheat family or whatever. You know who it did see the inside of? Grandma's. Oh, Grandma with her peanut butter and, wait for it, butter sandwiches.
What?
My grandma was not healthy. I told you she died when I was like 16.
That doesn't even sound good.
Peanut butter and butter on the Wonder Bread.
Throw up.
Well, we got a new offering in the black football player who doesn't need the D in the front of the name. And we all know that, Andre Hopkins, you don't need a DeAndre.
Right.
We just know who you are.
Right.
But Todd Gurley, you could use the D.
Oh, coming on strong this year. I don't know if you're aware of the backup running back for the Browns, Ernest Johnson. Because Ernest Johnson, that doesn't send you on the right path. Ernest, now you're talking.
Well, we have a new leader in the clubhouse. It's a young fella who committed to LSU, and then he pardon the pun, committed. Now maybe decommitted, maybe going to Texas. DeColdis Crawford.
Ooh.
DeColdis.
So we've talked about him before because he went viral because everyone thought that his middle name was To Eva Do It. So DeColdis To Eva Do It Crawford. And then it came out later his middle name's Juan. But
the coldest one.
Yeah, still good. Dick Coldest.
His mom said his mom named him that because she already knew he was going to be the best athlete in the family.
Wow.
So he kicked.
Could
inside.
Could be a low bar though.
It's still, I mean, I'm the best athlete in my family. It's got me. I didn't go to the show.
Talking about DeColdest Carolla?
I'm saying he could be the coldest guy working at Chipotle in 4 years. Like it's always a risk you run, but the coldest.
If you end up at the Chipotle, you just go with Cole on your name tag?
Yeah, probably.
I would. Yeah,
I would too. Hey, the coldest, give me the warmest burrito you got.
He decommitted from LSU, and now he's looking to go somewhere else. All right. Other thoughts. Dawson. Speaking of the coldest. I unplugged the cold tub. I'm in the pool now. It's down in the 40s.
Oh yeah,
in the foothills where I am, and it's cold at night, man. So I'm up in that pool in the morning. Let's see.
That kid of yours doing it too?
Sonny,
is that over?
Tandem
no,
jump?
He's
over.
he was good for a couple of dips, and
we're done.
Yeah,
feels like more of an Italia thing.
Doesn't enjoy it.
Okay. Well, are you still doing the ocean jump?
I do the ocean when I'm in. I got 3 or 4 moves. I got the cold tub, during the summer months. I got the swimming pool during the winter months. I got the ocean, and if I'm in Malibu and I have a little time, but on the short time days where I'm trying to hustle out of there, I just go into the shower. I don't turn it on. I stand under it, and I just turn the handle all the way up. But that means 35 seconds of freezing water before it gets you up. That's just a shock thing. That's just saying, I don't want to do this. It's going to sting. Do it.
You'd be really hard to break in like a POW camp.
Let's find out.
Do you remember giving Drew shit for doing the same thing?
No, it wasn't the same thing.
Oh, what
he
did
was
he do?
taking hot showers and finishing cold, which I do
I thought
anyway.
you let it warm up. No,
Wasn't that the whole thing, that he was taking like a regular shower and then finishing cold? Which I do
weak.
anyway, just to close your pores.
I appreciate your point, Brian. Dr. Drew has a goddamn swimming pool in his backyard, and he's on the first floor, and he lives in a part of town same part I live in. He's got a nice cold dunk sitting there.
And he forgoes it?
He forgoes it. Yes. If he didn't have the swimming pool in his backyard, I wouldn't give him as much shit. But also, he warms it all up,
Right.
gets into it, and then turns it cold. But at a certain point, initially the cold even feels good if you're hot, and then if you can shut it the second it stops. I say it's the sting factor, it's the shock factor. You need that shock. So and it's a move of last resort. I don't do it unless I'm pressed for time. But I think Drew does the hot to the cold. But again, it's got the swimming pool back there.
Yeah. What's your excuse?
Doesn't use it. All right, let's see. Someone wants to be a ball puller. Someone's got thoughts on touring a tour bus and actors, method actors.
Oh, I've thoughts about
interesting.
that.
Let's talk to Connor, 35, Massachusetts. Connor?
Ace man, get it on.
Hi, Guy.
Hi, Guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm a tour bus driver, and I remember it was a month or two ago. You guys took a little road trip on a tour bus to do a gig.
It's pretty first class.
Yeah.
And my question is, when are we going to have the ACS Traveling Road Show?
You know,
The price was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Carnies.
certainly nice. I mean, we were in a first class, brand spanking new tour bus.
Was I the only one who slept on the ride home?
Yep.
Oh, it was comfortable and lovely.
Yeah, it was glorious. The ride home was easy.
This is what I do for a living, so I'd be happy to take you around the country, and
Who have
you can
you
look for a new house in a new city to move to while we're out there.
Who have you carted around?
Post-COVID, my first tour back was an up-and-coming young band called Collective Soul.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wish them
Did a
well.
couple of dates with Styx. I think they're going to be doing well.
Didn't Styx run on our bus?
I think Styx
Wasn't that
rode
one of
on
the
our
band's
bus.
drops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Might have been, yeah.
does anybody listen to their own music?
You'll occasionally get the acoustic powwow if they have to do like a refresher on a song, an old song.
Mm-hmm. They'll play it,
but
on
no,
the bus.
there's not much of that.
Mm-hmm. So Styx, I imagine you're kind of a fly on the wall, but you get to know those passengers pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Is there, kind of interesting? Is there a divider between the driver and the passengers?
A physical divider?
Yeah.
Not on ours.
Sometimes there's a sliding door. Sometimes just a Velcro curtain.
There's got to be, because if they have them for limos,
Yeah.
there's a lot more
Yeah.
going on in the back
Yeah.
of that bus than there is in the back of a limo, especially for the kind of haul
Yeah.
you're
A
into.
lot of
It's
downtime.
implausible deniability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, listen, are you guys with me? I haven't traveled around in a stretch limo in a long time, but are you with me that the de facto setting should be divider up? And if you'd like to lower it, you could.
Yeah, 'cause you don't wanna be the asshole.
I don't like the optics of
Yeah.
having the thing going up on the person.
Yeah.
I say the protocol should be limo driver picks you up with it down, talks to you through it and then says, I shall be raising this unless there's something you don't like about it. And if you need me, I'll be on the other
with
side.
With the very gentle reminder of, if you need to adjust the visor or the screen, the button's right over there.
Right.
With the implication that up or down, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's your choice.
Speaking of buttons, the worst era in stretch limo entertainment was they would put the fancy stereo on the roof. It was up in a cove. It was a cove on the roof. But they would go with the fancy ones in the 90s. They got rid of the knob. At some point, they decided knob for volume is bad. It'd be a button. But up on the roof, and you buzzed, and pitch black back there, you couldn't.
You just mashing
You'd
things.
start pushing buttons. Inevitably, you would hit the button that popped the face off, and then the fucking face would land in your drink on your lap while you were sitting back there. This is really the worst ergonomics ever.
Yeah, sounds like a problem Robin Leach should have told us about.
That's right. Connor?
Yes.
You feel my pain?
I do. But once you get to know these people, there's a lot of, hey, can I come up and have a cigarette? I can't sleep. I'm fighting with my girlfriend. Can I come sit up front and just watch the road go by?
Really?
And, we travel at night, so it's a lot of that.
That's code for a blowjob, man.
Boy, I'm antsy.
That's roadhead. Can't sleep. Just want to come up.
Right up front.
Penny for your thoughts.
Pull the screen closed.
Yeah. All right, Connor. We'll keep you in mind if we have to hit the road.
I'll be ready.
Thanks, buddy. Kyle's got some info on the story with RG3.
Oh.
In his tell-all book we were talking about the other
Washington,
day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kyle, 39, Walnut Creek.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Guy.
You wanted to follow up. Love the show, by the way. Thanks for all the entertainment during that quarantine, especially. But
Sure.
I'm for better or worse, I'm a huge Washington football team fan, and I think I'm a little closer to the RG3 stuff than what was portrayed. RG3 was a big diva. He drove Hall of Fame coaches out of town. He constantly blamed everyone, and all his teammates basically trashed the guy, and no one respected him. Versus, he's definitely not the victim in this. So I was listening to it, and I thought I'd just give perspective as someone who was very close to all that drama unfolding during that time in D.C.
What do you think his book's going to say?
Well, his book's going to basically, to the point, I mean, D.C. is dysfunctional. I think Brian hit on that. The owner's a mess. I'm not going to refute any of that. And he's probably just going to play up to that. And not a popular owner. The sports media doesn't like him, so I'm sure he's going to get a lot of spins on all the sports media shows. He might pop up on Oprah and shed some tears. I have no idea. But for anyone to think that he was the victim and poor him, and if it wasn't for Snyder, he'd be in the Hall of Fame or whatever. I mean, he was a total bust, and he had injuries. He blamed everyone, and I mean, he just, I don't know. He left a bad taste in a lot of the football team's fan base.
I can't
Thank
wait
you.
for Kyle's book.
I can't, owning a football franchise used to be a pretty sweet deal. It's still good, but it's not as good as it was because there's a lot of protocol now. Like, you're responsible for everything. It used to be, just get up there with your gourmand, the luxury suite, light a cigarette, have a highball. That was it. We didn't know who you were. There wasn't the scrutiny,
Right.
you really...
Yeah, you better be one of the owners now who's in the background. We don't even know, who owns the so-and-so. I have no fucking idea. Who owns the Broncos? I have no fucking idea. Or
Right.
you're Jerry Jones and you're constantly getting flack, or,
Right.
Dan Snyder or whatever.
And
Mark Cuban.
It's a league that's 70% African American, right? So you better be careful with your tweets because I let this guy go because he's a head case and
Your private
whatever. And it's
emails.
like, is that a racist?
Yeah.
Is that a racist
Absolutely.
thing? Emails,
own
everything's
the players?
right.
Right.
I mean, it's just Rich Whitey ain't what it used to
And
be.
for God's sake, stay out of Orchid Massage.
Oh my God.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Just what we want our police doing. Do we have line 2 or line 1? I don't know.
Line 1
Oh,
and
line 3.
two drop.
Sorry, screwed that up. John, 46 from Cleveland.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, Guy.
Hi, Guy. So just so you know who you're dealing with, I'm a 46-year-old Disney fanatic. Brian, I even have the tattoo. Just want to throw that out there so you knew what you were up against.
Hey, man, you are not alone. Like I said, I went to Disneyland, and these people they're out in full force with the gear and the head to toe, everything Disney.
I've got it all. I've got the fan club hoodie in my closet right now, so I get it.
Look at you, man.
But,
Walk on the walk.
Are you a pin trader?
No, I don't do pin trading, but
no, Gina, come on.
I'm on the message boards. I'm on the message boards every day.
I wonder if Disney,
46 years old.
you're out in Cleveland. I wonder if Disneyland is better when you're from somewhere else.
Fuck yeah. Fuck
It
yeah.
absolutely is.
We're too close. I mean, it's like
getting there. The anticipation is huge.
Every time you do a show out in the Irvine Improv, you pass by the top of the mountain, the Matterhorn. You're like BFD. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there it is.
Tessa's already been to Disneyland more times than I had in my entire life up until having Tessa.
Wow.
Right. Oh yeah.
She lives in Southern California.
Yep. So John, that's good. How's your wife, girlfriend, kids? They down with this nonsense?
Partner.
No. My wife, partner, thank you. No, my wife of 17 years, she is not a fan. I can get her to go with me about every 2 years, or if they have a new attraction open, she might go to Epcot, and look at one of the countries, but she's not interested in anything else.
Starting to turn the corner here, though.
Separate vacation this year.
This, no better strategy for cheating in a marriage. You know what I mean?
Not at Disney.
Well, first things first. I got the hotel right there.
True.
Yeah.
3 now.
A lot of on-site.
Secondly, she doesn't know if you're going to Disney or you're just going to some motel in the Anaheim area. Number 2. 3, she don't want to go. You know what I mean? And you got to get on an airplane. You know what I mean? This is a vacation. She doesn't want to go. But bigger picture, nobody accuses Disney guys of cheating. Like you never see the guy at the Disney tattoos and all the buttons go, that guy pulls a ton of tail. You got poor fucking sack. Look at that poor sack. Man, that guy. He didn't get laid in high school. Now he's not getting laid as a doll. He probably just beat off. Like no one ever, you don't look the part.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, I look, if you're in a fucking, if you're in a, cover band, you cover Led Zeppelin songs or something, you got to head out of town for a week. Someone's going to be checking on you.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's people. You could get laid.
But if you're going to see Rise of the Resistance, you're probably good.
Which we did 2 times.
Of course you did.
Yeah, which we've been kind of learning with, God, who we trying to, how was I trying to figure out? A lot of nerds cheat, but no one ever thinks they cheat. Right? We got Bill Gates, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking.
You start finding out their stories, and what are we? We're always like, bowl me over with a feather.
That's right.
Like, him? No, he's got glasses.
Hiding in plain sight. He's a fucking rich guy.
Yeah.
How did he get laid? He's
You're right.
He's got buttons on his collar.
Comic-Con's like Woodstock.
Yeah, right.
Free
so this
love.
is a good way to just kind of slide under that cheater's radar.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, Richard Nixon made his "I am not a crook" speech at Disney World.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
At the the Contemporary Hotel.
Wow. That's
Bizarre.
So there you go.
good to know.
Greatest cheater in American history.
All right, and there he does it. Right in the safety of the, under the shadow
Of Mickey's bosom.
Mickey's bosom.
What's your favorite ride, John? At Disneyland. We've all been to Disneyland. What's your favorite ride out there?
Yes. I love the Cars area in California Adventure, but Rise of the Resistance is just the best ride they've ever built.
It's pretty
bar none.
sweet. I got to tell you guys. It's
What
pretty
ride?
awesome. The new Star Wars ride, Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, I've
more of an
not done
experience.
that.
There's a ride element to it, but you're walking through here. Stormtroopers are chasing
The cantina.
you. Kylo Ren. Yeah, it's pretty. They fucking put some effort in that thing.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
It's 20 minutes long.
Yeah, it's an
Really?
experience.
How long's the average wait?
Oh.
I wouldn't know.
You have to get
Forever.
Really? No, I'm just on a bevy of Facebook groups, and one of them is a Disney tips and tricks, which we never go, so I don't know I'm on it. And people are like, okay, you have to practice the day before. You have to practice getting in,
getting
the code.
in the virtual queue.
Yeah, so people really freak out over that shit.
I did that. I did that in Orlando. Absolutely true.
You ever do the guide? $550 bucks an hour guide, or whatever the hell it is.
They have like medium VIP tours where they're small groups, like 10 people, say, and they're about $500 a piece. But I've definitely done those.
SIP, somewhat important people.
God.
Correct. Yes.
Oh wait, is your question? You got a question or method?
No, it had nothing to do with that. Sorry.
All right. Good.
Bye.
Thank you. I
Adult
got to
Disney
tell you
enthusiast.
that guide thing at
Well, you would know.
What was it? $550 bucks.
Is-
An
$500
hour.
an
It's like a
hour.
But it was like a
minimum of 4 or
minimum,
5 hours, yeah.
You could get Mark Garagos to come to your house and give you legal advice for under $550 an hour.
Crack
for
a
the love
buck.
of Christ. She's 19-year-old chick.
Yeah.
Disney's probably paying her $11.50 an hour.
Yeah.
Then there's that thing at the end, like, are we tipping? And if we're
I'm
tipping,
in for $4,000.
yeah, I mean, if we're
In for a penny.
tipping, are we? Is this a 20% tip? I mean,
That was a good day for her.
and for me, I can't do it. I have a general anxiety because at a certain point, I've told you guys it's time to stop and eat, and I'm like,
Hope she
we're
packed
not
his lunch.
stopping. We're on. You sit down for 20 minutes. That's $212. You know what I mean? Like we're not doing this.
Time is
Wait,
money.
this doesn't include lunch?
And at some point,
That's
she's
insane.
being offered. You want a water? You want some trail mix? I'm like, I'm not paying $7 for her. What? Let her carve out some money for herself. Get a Boda bag, bitch.
I don't know if you noticed this or if it's changed since you did that, but Disneyland's gotten a lot better at serving alcohol.
Oh, really?
The Blue Bayou, that's just restaurant.
Oh.
You know, when you're on Pirates, you see people dining.
yeah.
That restaurant serves alcohol. It's gotten a lot better.
But how many times have you underwritten Disneyland since the last time you went?
It's a good point.
Countless.
How many times you paid for it?
Countless times. But because money is now invisible, it does not count.
I don't like that.
Invisible money does not count. I was kind of thinking about that. I think people are going to be that way with electric cars. It costs money to charge them up,
But we'll never know.
but it's
Yeah.
invisible
Yeah.
money
Right.
versus standing at the pump and seeing like ting, ting, turning around.
Like a
Last
slot machine.
call, Nick, 43 Portland, Union Pipe Fitter.
Hi, Guy.
Hi, Guy.
I want to be the ball puller.
In Portland, what do you do as a union pipe fitter?
Well, right now I'm working at a semiconductor plant, so I'm an orbital welder. Stainless tubing runs gases to these big machines. They're called tools that make the microchips.
This is amazing.
Adam's too messing.
Now, do you do that with a TIG or a MIG?
It's an orbital welder, so it's actually like a computer with a removable head, and you clamp it or
you
fit it up.
clamp
to
it does it.
So yeah, it's like a TIG.
Now I'm really getting interested.
But it's still like a TIG.
Yeah, it's like a TIG, but it's just automatic, really.
I feel like TIG and MIG are too close.
Nice to talk to
Kind of
you.
my push and pull, you know what I mean? Hey, Bob, hand me the TIG welder. Huh?
Uh-huh.
The TIG, MIG, TIG. How many guys showed up with a MIG when they thought they were bringing a TIG? Am I right? Or am I
Countless,
right?
I'm sure.
Stalactites, stalagmites.
Hey, man, you want me to play one of your union corporate gigs? I got 15 minutes on TIG versus MIG.
Now, who else has got some story?
Don't get me started on argon gas, huh? Am I right, people?
Yeah, that's what we use, argon.
Oh, you fit right in.
Even Nick's board. Yeah, that's the you. That's all right.
No.
All right, so you want to pull some balls in Portland? What show do you want to do?
I got tickets to the 22nd.
Uh-huh,
Okay,
that's the
night.
first show.
But I don't know if the screen caller told you, but so I live in Meridian, Idaho, just outside of Boise, and I'm here traveling. I've been here for a year as of December 1st, and I was set to go back home for Christmas for that whole week, the 18th through the 26th, and I canceled half the trip so I can go to the show.
All right.
Oh,
Because you never come to Boise. You got to come out to Boise. So there's the only chance I was going to get. So I was going to go to my brother-in-law's wedding on the 20th. Canceled that.
wow.
So-
Screw him.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Thanks, Nick.
Wow.
And my
We'll be
my
back.
brother's coming out from California. He's flying out from California. He's going to go with
Yeah,
me.
so are
'Cause I had
we.
nobody to go with.
Wow.
Nice. Well, first off, maybe I'll end up moving to Boise and just doing some stand-up in your living
you should
room.
definitely go check it out. Definitely.
As a
It's a beautiful place.
certified welder, have you been out of work in the last few years? Is business good for you?
No, I'm a journeyman with the union. I did 5 years of school. I started in 2013, and I have never been out of work unless I drug up, quit, or took a layoff to do another job.
What do you?
And now,
Yeah.
with with the semiconductors, Intel's out here, and they got a ton of work. Like, there's a chip shortage, so this industry is booming right now.
What do you, rich man, poor man, chip shortage?
Yeah.
These Tostitos are gone bad. Hey, Nick, what do you make an hour, if you don't mind me asking?
So out the scale in Idaho is it's local 296. If I could throw that out there, their scale is 33 an hour, and out here in Portland, local 290 is 48.97.
Damn.
Sweet.
So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, nice. All right, good on you. Well, stay on the line.
Send your
see
invoice
you.
to Chris.
Mm-hmm. Telling you, people, learn a trade, man. Make $50 an hour. There's money to be made in the trades, and you will be in demand because, first off, the pool keeps shrinking. Everyone wants to sit around and do TikTok videos, and no one wants to go out and learn a trade. But in the 4 years, you could get your Chicano Studies degree at the local college. You could be a certified welder, or electrician, plumber, whatever, and go out and make some cash, man.
I don't know, maybe you do this on Facebook, but I can't tell you how many times I've reached out to my father-in-law or a friend or whoever, like, hey, you got a good plumber? Got a good whatever? You know what I mean? They're always in demand.
Yes.
Agreed. All right, let me hit Simply Safe here. Want your home to feel safer? No better time than now this week. Our friends at Simply Safe are giving Adam Carolla Show listeners access to all their holiday deals, 40% off. This is a good company with a great product. Stuff is sleek. Batteries last up to 10 years. No drilling, no pulling wires. Everything you need. Indoor and outdoor cameras, comprehensive sensors, around-the-clock monitoring by trained professionals. Named Best Home Security System of 2021 by U.S. News and World Report. Customize the system for your home online in minutes. Even get free custom recommendations from their experts. Simply Safe's biggest discount of the year. Get a system starting at just over $100. No long-term contracts or commitments. Supplies are limited. Take the 40% off at simplysafe.com/Adam. That is simplysafe.com/Adam. Well, Mr. Skin back for his year-end review. We'll do that right after this.
Jim Carolla, ta-rum-rum-rum-pet. That Adam bought for you, ta-rum-rum-rum-pet. About your gift, my son, ta-rum-rum-rum-pet. I want a different one, ta-rum-rum-rum-pet, rum-rum-rum-pet, rum-rum-rum-pet. Sour notes ring out, ta-rum-rum-rum-pet. When he blows.
Always funny. All right, Mr. Skin is on with us. I'm guessing from Chicago. Mr. Skin?
Yes, that is correct, Adam. Yes, Chicago.
We have the MrSkin.com is where you go. We got the top 10 celebrity nude scenes to look forward to.
To look back
yes,
on.
this is, believe it or not, my
22nd
annual, my 22nd annual top 10 nude scenes of the year. Who'd have thunk it? I've been doing this so long. So
do what you love. You never work a day in your life.
That's right. Let me ask this, and I'll put it to the peeps. I'll put it to the boys who work here, and I'll make an analogous comparison, and maybe it'll make sense. We all had all those hots, Hang On to Sex, all the important movies that we grew up with, and I don't know why I was thinking about it the other day, and Mr. Skin knows all these like the back of his hand because that's really the only part of his hand he sees. It's always a blur, too. Hey, research. The point is this. The point is this. I was getting out of the ocean the other day, and I was thinking about Jacqueline Bisset in the deep.
Okay.
And it was
greatest wet T-shirt scene in the history of movies.
It was a scandal. She was so beautiful in a wet white T-shirt. I was like, when that movie came out, 1977 or 8 or whatever, it's like that was enough to build a dream on back then. Now it's all YouPorn and everyone's wearing VR goggles and it's a mess. But, and this is the question, a lot of folks getting back to vinyl when it comes to music, right?
Yeah.
They just go, well, it's cool, and I like the sound, and it reminds me of a different whatever. And I'm wondering.
Sorry if I can jump on that. The same with the tree discussion we were having. Everything's better about the new stuff except the nostalgia.
Right. Now, the whack down memory lane. How much, when you guys are perusing the highways and the byways of the internet, how much do you step back and look at some old high school thing that was kind of, you dug it back then, some old movie with some titties in it or something? Is it all just the latest and the greatest, or are we getting into the little nostalgia here? Yeah. Mr. Skin,
I feel like the expert would know.
Yeah, what does your data say?
Yeah, well, no, listen, I think that some of those early nude scenes that we saw, and Adam, like you came home in the 80s or 90s and turned on cable television and you saw maybe the movie Bound or Fast Times at Ridgemont High or whatever it was. And it was some of the earliest nudity you might ever saw, especially stuff in the 80s. That, you never forget that, and there's always like a special place in your heart. Of course, you have, and some of the things on my list are, great modern-day nudity. But I think at our age, we might not know these actresses, or you might not know these actresses as well. So there's always a special connection when someone you know very well does a nude scene. And that's why I think some of the stuff from the 80s and 90s will always be important to us, because it's like the first nudity we saw. And you just don't forget your first nude scene,
When I learned that Katie Holmes would be topless in The Gift.
The Gift?
That would just coincide. I was, 18 or 19. That was like, that's what I know. No, personally, but like this hot girl from TV.
How much retro jacking's going on around here, Max Pat? I need a poll. Pardon the pun. So, sorry, Mr. Skin. So, and then, in your world, is there still an appetite for this? Oh, yeah. Well, I can see a porn star do God knows what all day long, but I can't see a A-list or B-list actress in this setting. So, I'm guessing there's always an appetite.
Here's the thing, and I know this because I've been doing it for 22 years. But celebrity is different than porn. And there's a lot of guys, myself included, that would rather see someone that's a celebrity do a nude scene than watch a porn, because there's no connection to the porn star. Like, it's a psychological thing, but when you see someone on television all the time or in a magazine or on talk shows, you feel like you know them. And it's that same thing where, let's say you go for coffee every day and there's a beautiful girl behind the counter. Wouldn't you rather see the girl behind the counter naked versus some anonymous girl you'd never heard of? There's the connection. That's the celebrity factor.
I'm going to make the Reese's Porna Butter Cup out of this, because I went to high school with Christy Canyon.
Right. That's a
so the
card.
second we found out, that was worlds colliding right there.
There was also a sweet spot, not for those of us who knew Christy Canyon, Mr. Skin. Like, I was 13-ish when Under Siege came out, and seeing a Playboy Playmate all of a sudden in real life doing all that stuff, like, that was the best day of my young life.
Yeah. Aleniak.
Yeah, that was Erica Aleniak is who you're talking about. That was a Steven Seagal movie. So,
it was a really good movie.
I enjoyed it. All right, so should we start at 10 and work our way down to 1?
Yeah, whatever. I'll go down the list. Hopefully, it'll move quickly for you guys. And Adam, I was thinking about this before I came on. Like, you might not know some of these shows, but I'll be able to give you some background so you feel like you feel like you might want to watch some of these. So let me just start with number 10, which is Alexandra Daddario in White Lotus, which was an HBO show that. Yeah, you guys probably, a lot of your people there probably saw it. It debuted July 11th on HBO, and it was like think about how the Love Boat was, where for a week it's about the people that were the guests. That's kind of what this show was about. It's a week at a tropical resort. They had like Jennifer Coolidge, Connie Britton.
It was a great
and,
show.
Alexandra Daddario. Yeah, she did a nude scene in the second episode, which is number 10 on my list. Back in 2014, she did that True Detective with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, which was my number 1 nude scene of the year. This isn't as great as that, but any Alexandra Daddario has to be considered for the best nudity of the year, and it's number 10.
She was in San Andreas with The Rock, wasn't she? Or is that another chick?
Right, yes.
She got nude with
That's
The Rock?
a hot film, man.
No, she did not. She did not get nude with The Rock.
But that
She was
had
in
The Rock
Baywatch
in it.
movie,
That had The
too.
Rock in it. It was a hot flick, man.
Now,
Sorry.
here's a show that is getting a little popular. It's called Heels from the Stars Network, and my number 9 best nude scene is Kelly Berglund. And Heels is a wrestling show. It's about these two brothers, and they're rivals for their dad's wrestling promotion biz in a small town in Georgia. And in wrestling, a villain is a heel, and a hero is a face. And that's the name of the show, Heels. And so Kelly Berglund, and this is one of the weird things for me, and Adam, you could maybe relate to this too because we're around the same age, but Kelly Berglund, back when early days of Mr. Skin, was on Disney's Lab Rats. She was like, a child star, and now she's in her 20s, and she's doing a great nude scene on Heels. So always weird when a child star grows up and does a great nude.
That's the white whale, right? That's the thing that everybody's chasing, the Disney star that grows up?
Well, it's the Alyssa Milano factor.
Yeah.
Is that everyone... When I started Mr. Skin, everyone was going nuts about Alyssa Milano back in the 90s because she was the little girl in Who's the Boss, and next thing you know, she's doing all these movies on cable television.
And don't forget
nude, and it just
Her
blows your
video
mind.
series.
Yeah.
Was it Steam?
Teen Steam.
Teen
Gotta let it out.
Steam?
That's right.
So creepy.
What was the
you
movie?
kind of changed. Yeah, all right.
What was it? Lisa Bonet, Angel Heart.
Angel Heart.
Angel
With Mickey
Heart.
Rourke.
Right,
Yes,
right.
That was one of the best nude movies of the 80s. It was so graphic that Bill Cosby, it is very ironic today, Bill Cosby booted her off the Cosby Show to put her in her own sitcom because she was in this R-rated movie. He had this family show that was number 1.
Bill had
And
standards.
she's in this thing having like NC-17 sex with Mickey Rourke that was just outrageous. So that's how good that was. She got booted off her big show.
We got our staff poll in, revisiting old scenes, old stuff from days of yore. I don't know. The criteria is just it can't just be regular hardcore porn of today. It's going back, nostalgia, yesteryear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, okay, so Kayla wanted me to bring up that it's a lot different for our generation because we grew up with the internet, so
in
it's
the internet porn age.
yeah. So, but anyway, the answers I have here: Matt, no, he doesn't revisit. Ryan, no, and there's a note that says he would watch porn with friends. I don't know why.
Of course.
Why that's in there.
Didn't need that.
Emmy is a no, and then Gary, Kaylin, me, and Dawson say yes.
And what is that, Dawson? What's a yes for you?
See, it's weird because the internet porn came around. Well, I'd already been messing around, for a while, but I will go back to stuff that I've seen 15, 20 years ago and be like, yeah, this is still hot.
For me, my sort of criteria is they need to be dead now.
Yeah.
It just sort of adds a little something to it. You know what I mean? A little flavor.
Yeah.
I don't
Nostalgia.
Adam,
I don't know if that's weird, but I don't think
I
it
always
is.
was like,
It's very respectful in a way.
if you
Maybe
grew
it's the
up,
ultimate
if you grew up,
tribute.
the Adam of when you were a kid in high school and stuff. If you had access to the internet and porn and all that stuff, don't you think you'd have a different perspective on nudity? Like, I just think you and I had to we had to look at Sears catalog and stuff to, you know what I'm saying, just to get thrills.
You had to
And it's
adjust
just,
rabbit ears.
I feel young guys just have too much. They grew up from day one. They could see porn when they were in 6th grade. I can't even fathom that.
I had, I guess it's a lot like, I don't know why, but it's a lot like when you see NBA superstars and they have teenage kids and what must that be like to be 17 and attend the Knicks game and watch your dad
play.
jamming on people? I can't imagine. It's unthinkable. It's that same sort of, it's the same process and thought for me. Like, whoa.
Exactly.
You're about as far from it as you could get.
I was walking to Walter Reed Elementary one morning and found they used to have like nudie papers.
Pamphlets or...
No, these were like stars over the nipples and like in front, back when they had paper machines out front.
Oh, yeah.
And
vaguely like newspapers.
Yeah,
like
the paper machine was still too rich for our blood, but if you whacked the top of it sort of right and pulled it simultaneously, you could pop it sometimes. But found a topless black and white picture of Adrienne Barbeau from Maude.
That's all you needed for the next
black
5 years.
and white. Like I cut it out. I kept it like people keep a 4-leaf clover. Put some cellophane around it. We'll get some wax paper and put it down. I'll press it. Keep it in my Bible.
Between you have your page of your diary.
Was Adrienne Barbeau considered a sex pot?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big rack.
I remember
pretty.
She was in all those like Cannonball Run and Escape from New York with her cleavage and everything. And
she was one in Cannonball with the jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she'd wear like the red jumpsuit with the cleavage. But keep in mind, Adam, I hope people don't think what you didn't see was her nude from Maude. It was, you saw her posing nude for something.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
Yeah. Obviously, Maude was a primetime sitcom.
Yeah, weird nude scene.
B. Arthur in it, who reminded me a lot of my grandmother.
She was the bad wife in the Rodney Dangerfield movie.
School.
Back to School?
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, she worked a ton. But the point is I had that. I had my go-to was the chick on the raft box at the Big Five Sporting Goods place. I couldn't afford the raft, but I could come.
Sir,
I could visit my lady.
It's closing time.
I could go visit my lady in the aquatics aisle. They had the pool aisle. The pool aisle was that was a form of torture for me. It's like we don't have a pool. So we don't even qualify for any of this
What do you do
stuff.
with that?
Yeah, the
exotic
the Big
toys.
Five Sporting Good was one big. You're never gonna get that. It's like they had the pistols over there and the crossbows over there and the full kayaks up on the wall and the mountaineering stuff and. None of it. The heavy bag stand, it was none of it. But once in a while, to get every 6 years, get a new baseball mitt or tennis shoes or something like that. But I had the raft box, had my Adrienne Barbeau picture. Of course, my buddy Ray had Frisky. And a Frisky magazine, like 60s, 50s and 60s topless chicks.
Pit them on it.
I used to stare at Frisky. I mean, that's where
stuff that fighter pilots would paint on the side of their plane.
I was going to say I say I'm an atheist a lot, but I do have reason to believe in God.
Yeah.
And
give us all hope.
I've told you guys this one, but I haven't told it in a long time. Ray was upstairs babysitting and in his apartment building. Imagine Ray babysitting. And I was sleeping over and I would sleep on the floor. There was carpet, shitty apartment carpet, but I just, put a blanket down, and I'm just laying there on the floor. Of course, I pulled the Frisky.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So Ray's gone. It's got the Frisky's unmanned. And I'm going to be perusing the Frisky magazine. Laying on the floor, and then his mom, Irene, comes in, and she's like, what are you doing with her German accent? What are you on the floor for? Like,
I'm fine here.
I like it here.
Give me that blanket.
I shoved the Frisky under the blanket, hanging on it. Oh, nonsense. Let me make you a bed.
Now, young man.
She's pulling on the blanket. Going, let me get a mattress. I know, I'm good. And she won't quit.
I hate mattresses.
And I'm pulling at it. I'm going, I'm fine. And she's like, nobody sleeps on the floor. I'm not going to have this, And she's pulling and fine. I'm just like, fine. And she pulls the blanket, pushes it over. And she makes the whole bed and then spreads the Frisky never comes out.
Wow. There is a God.
There is a God. Like I thought it was going to go airborne and land on her head.
It's like frailty. Well, was it ever located?
Oh, yeah. I relocated it. It was all for naught. I looked at it as like a divine intervention.
Yeah.
Like I really was like, oh my God.
Deus Ex Machina.
And when Ray got back from babysitting, I was just like, you're not going to believe what happened. You're not going to believe it. Your mom, I had the frisky. I tried to hide it in the blanket. She pulled the blanket up. She never knew. It never came out. She never knew. And then, of course, at breakfast, Ray's like, hey, Mom, come here. Yeah. Hey, guess who was beating off with the frisky when you went in there and tackled him with the blanket? Oh, yeah. I had the frisky. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, at that point, that's kind of on you.
Yeah, you told Ray.
It is.
I'm looking at a couple of covers of Frisky, and their over 40 edition looks well over 65.
Well, it's over 40.
Yeah.
What year is over 40?
I can't tell.
This magazine's from like 1968 or something.
These women look rode hard and put away wet.
Hey, Mr. Skin, we got Gary Sinise, who probably wouldn't approve of this conversation. Queued up to go. So let me just give your website a plug. MrSkin.com is where people can go if they want to check out all your latest offerings. Thank you, Mr. Skin.
Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much, Adam. I always have a ride on your show. Thanks.
I agree. It's always fun. All right, let me tell you about Ultimate Ears, and we'll get to Gary Sinise. Man, we use tech every day. We use so many devices. But what about the earbuds, man? You use them all day, every day. Get the ones that fit, custom fit. UE fits true wireless, custom fit earbuds from Ultimate Ears. Premium sound, all day comfort. The molding experience is easy. You don't need the tack or plaster Paris or molds or anything. You do it yourself. Do it at home. Guaranteed perfect fit in 60 seconds, 8 hours of continuous playback on a single charge, up to 20 hours with the charging case. If you try them and you don't love them as much as we all do, they offer a 30-day money-back trial, so you're going to love them, or you can return them. Money-back guarantee, 30 days, plus free shipping, free returns, and a 1-year warranty. It's Ultimate Ears, right, Dawson?
Use promo code Adam at ue.com/fits to get your pair of UE Fits for just $169 during their holiday sale. That's ue.com/fits, promo code Adam.
Our old friend Gary Sinise is back, and we'll talk to him right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
Stupid is, stupid down.
If you said Forrest Gump.
Stupid is, stupid does.
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
Gary Sinise is here. Patriot, philanthropist, musician, actor, Gary Sinise. Good to talk to you again, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me, Adam. Hi, everybody.
I've seen Gary's band perform 2 times. Once at Coronado for the Speed Week they would have over there on the base. I was doing a vintage race and just ran into Gary performing for the troops. And then once again, I think at CBS Radford during maybe a 4th of July. Does that sound right?
Well, that was probably something I did every year when I was working on CSI New York. I used to bring the band in about halfway through the season and set up a stage and just play for the whole lot. And you probably came to one of those.
It must have been that. By the way, we got a virtual charity event to talk about. Gary Sinise Foundation, Snowball Express. Saturday, go to his website and GarySiniseFoundation.org for more info. So we were talking about Disneyland and Disney World, and you used to take like 1,800 kids there every year.
Well, what we would be taking them this year if it wasn't for COVID. This is something I've been involved with going back to 2007, and these are our Gold Star children, families of our fallen. And we started taking them to Disneyland back in 2006, and then in 2009 we moved it to Dallas because American Airlines is one of our big travel sponsors. They provide all these airplanes. I mean, literally, they'll provide 12 charters and multiple tickets to fly these Gold Star families in for an event, and we did it in Dallas because that's the kind of hub of American Airlines. And then we wanted to move it to Disney World and shake it up a bit. After 9 years in Dallas, we wanted to move it, and I have a good relationship with Disney. We started to make things happen. And so in 2018, we took over 1,000 kids to Disney. We did the same thing we did the same thing in 2019. And these are kids plus guardians and spouses, surviving spouses. So probably 1,800 people in total. And that costs a lot more money. So we folded that organization, Snowball Express, into the Gary Sinise Foundation as a program. And then COVID hit last year, and we couldn't take the kids. So we did a virtual event last year. And unfortunately, we can't take them this year. So we're doing a virtual event this year where over 2,000 families will tune in online to this big day-long show that we put together for the families, just a way to bring them together, to be able to show our love to them and our support for them, and to give them some joy right before Christmas time. It's been a marvelous, wonderful blessing to be able to support these kids. They're going through a lot, and they struggle, and unfortunately, every year we have new kids.
Sure. I'm looking at last year's virtual event, had Angelina Jolie, Keanu Reeves, Tom Hanks. How'd you get his number? Jimmy Kimmel. What the hell? I thought you had A-listers on this. Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard. What are they doing? Are they performing? Are they reading poems? Are they singing? No. How does the virtual event work with the celebrities?
Yeah, we put the word out last year to I sent letters, made phone calls. We just reach out to folks in the business to send in messages to the kids. And so they're just little short messages, usually, supportive messages to the kids and to the families that we appreciate them. We don't forget about what they're going through. We try to lift them up. Last year, Chris Pratt, he was on the set of Jurassic Park, and with Bryce Dallas Howard, and they did a whole thing on the set. And, we do a lot of fun things. People do things from their TV shows and whatnot. And that's not really, the whole thing is to lift these kids up. And, when you get these messages from people that you see on television and in the movies, and you think, oh, wow, they know I exist. They know I'm out here. They're sending me a personal message. That can lift them up. And so that's what all that was about. We had a lot of people last year, Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. And
my God,
I mean, you name it. A lot of people were on there.
Yeah, well, Gary's a hard guy to say no to, and the Gold Star families and the kids, I don't know.
What kind of monster do you have to be?
Forrest Gump's one of my favorites, and I'm always curious if people know what they're making when they're making it. Like sometimes people go, oh, we knew we had something special here. And then sometimes people go, I didn't have the whole script. I didn't even know what was going on, or they added a bunch of stuff and, in post that I wasn't even aware of. What was the Forrest Gump process for you?
You know what? There's that show. Have you seen this? I think it's Netflix. It's called The Movies That Made Us. Have you ever seen it?
It's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a series of documentaries. And recently they did one on Forrest Gump. And I watched it, and there were things in that I had no idea were going on behind the scenes of the making of the film. I mean, I knew there was disruption because the dailies were coming back to the studio, and, one day we're over here shooting one thing. The other day we're over here. Now we're on a bench with a guy who's talking about stuff, and the studio couldn't make sense out of it. And so they were worried. They didn't really know what was happening. But Tom Hanks and Bob Zemeckis were very, very dedicated to it. They knew we had something. They worked on the weekends. I mean, they had to get a bunch of shooting in, and they didn't have time in the regular schedule. So Tom said, well, let's do it on the weekend. And Bob said, okay. So they took a skeleton crew, all the shots of him like running around different places around the country. They would get on an airplane after shooting all week, and get on an airplane and fly with a skeleton crew and shoot Tom running around somewhere, that kind of thing. So they really were dedicated. They knew we had something. I knew it was feeling good. and I was having a good time making it, and that we were in good company there with Bob Zemeckis and a great screenplay and Tom Hanks. But could we predict, what it would turn out like? No, not really, because if you look at each of those individual stories, you've got Jenny and Forrest over here, and they're doing their own thing, and then Mama and Forrest over here, and then Bubba and Forrest, and Lieutenant Dan and Forrest. And so I really didn't know what Sally Field was doing in the movie. I never saw any of her work, and I was in one little scene at the wedding. Same thing with Robin Wright. I didn't know what she was doing. I wasn't watching the dailies. So when I went and saw the movie for the first time, and when all of us saw the movie for the first time, Tom was the only one who really knew what he was doing with everybody, because he was in every scene. But when I saw it for the first time put together, then I could see what everybody was doing, and it was magnificent. I mean, we all stood up at the end of that first little screening in the little tiny screening room, and everybody looked at each other with a big smile on their face, and we knew we were in a good movie. But who knew that it would turn into such a classic and live on and on and on the way it has?
Was that based on something?
Book, right?
I was based on a book?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
okay.
based on a book written by a guy named Winston Groom, who's actually a Vietnam veteran. And the Lieutenant Dan character is based on a guy in a wheelchair that got shot up in Vietnam, and a friend of his. So he based a lot of it on things from his own life.
What is it? Did you have to audition for that?
Yes. Yeah. Adam, I'd only done a couple of movies before that. I was a theater guy from Chicago, and I'd done a movie version of Mice and Men with John Malkovich.
Love that.
And done a couple other little things, but not much. So I went audition like a lot of other people, and I got the part. So I think they saw Mice and Men, and that's why they brought me in.
How many the Lieutenant Dan band? I was made me think of remember
Dan band.
The Dan band made me stop
yeah.
for a second. Are you guys you traveling around? Are you playing gigs? Like how often are you getting out there?
We've done over 530 shows for the military in the last 18 years, and we had to slow. I mean, we were nonstop. I was going everywhere, and then we did a concert last year in February. We always go to Naval Medical Center down in San Diego, and we set up a stage outside of the hospital, and we bring the patients out, and we provide food and everything. We do a thing that we have at the Gary Sinise Foundation called our Invincible Spirit Festivals, and we do them at hospitals all over. So we usually kind of start our year with this February show at the hospital. We did that one last year, and then we did it in early February. And bang, COVID hit. Everything shuts down. I remember it was just coming on, and some of our staff members had some travel plans to go places, and I said, no, this sounds like it's going to be really serious. You're not getting on planes to go anywhere. And sure enough, within days, everything got shut down, and airline travel, everything was shutting down. So the only thing we did last year besides that hospital show was we recorded a concert. We brought the band into California. We rented a studio here, and we recorded a concert that we could play at the virtual Snowball Express event last year. This year, we've only played, because of COVID and a lot of the bases not really knowing how to manage crowds and not really wanting to put people together. We've only done one concert. We did one early November at Nellis Air Force Base, and then we flew to Anaheim, and we got the band together, and we shot 2 nights for our virtual Snowball event this year. So my concert will be part of the finale of the day coming up on Saturday, when that's how I got started with Snowball Express. I donated my band, started bringing my band to play for the kids. So it's just part of the event every single year.
I remember the Coronado event, which they don't have anymore, sadly, the race. blew a hole in the side of my engine. Blew up the engine. Just blew. You can blow up an engine, but this had a hole in the side of it.
You're not blaming Gary, are you?
It was kind of. It was behind his bus where he was parked. I mean, I was out on the track. But,
okay, this is uncomfortable.
And then it was right at the end of the straightaway before you turn right, and I just kept going. I just coasted a very long distance because the worst thing you can do is be hit by another car.
Right.
Sure.
If you're too close to the action, and they don't have any barriers up at the Coronado. It's a wide open airfield with a bunch of cones.
Are you telling the
stuff.
tale of woe so you can get in on Disneyland next time?
I need a gig. I need you to come play for me because I had to pay to rebuild this engine. Now, I got yelled at for coasting too far by the guys who tow you back, and then had nothing to do but go hang out with Gary on his bus and watch
Wait,
those guys
was
play.
that before or after my concert, that blowout?
Geez, I'm trying to think. I mean, would you play while they were racing? If it sounds too loud or
I don't
something.
know. We've played with F-16s flying over our heads.
Oh,
so.
well, that's true. I was just I was happy to have something to do now that I was sidelined.
Speaking of flying, I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who's not a fan of Apollo 13, but I love it because it's one of those movies where you know what's going to happen. It's well documented. There are no surprises in that movie. It's part of history, and yet it is a white knuckle ride. What was it like? Did you talk to Ken Mattingly before playing him? Are you still in touch with him? How did that work for you?
No, I did not. I did not talk to him before. The first time I met him was at I think the first screening of that was in Houston.
Oh,
at Johnson Space Center, and that's when I met Ken. There was a dinner before the screening or something, and I met him that night. But we didn't have any communication while I was making the movie at all.
Was that intentional? Was that intentional, or was he standoffish, or how was the process?
No. I think I was just tuning into the script and trying to figure stuff out. And, we had some technical advisors on the movie that were advising us that were astronauts, a guy named Dave Scott. He was one of the moon guys. And so they were working directly with us. And I was focused on how they were guiding us technically and trying to just, pay attention to what Ron wanted me to do.
Wow.
It's one of the all-time great films.
And again, there's no surprises.
Right.
Then it's
like
a white
Titanic
knuckle ride.
Right.
Yeah. But how long after Forrest Gump was that, or before? It was right there.
Right after.
Right there, right?
I got cast in the movie before Forrest Gump opened, and I remember going to the first big Hollywood screening that they had. The one I mentioned earlier was just a small one for the cast, but this was the big premiere, and it was in the big theater at Paramount. And I had just been cast in Apollo 13, and Ron Howard was at the big premiere, and he said, "Well, I'm glad I cast you." I remember that.
I mean, think about 2 back-to-back movies.
Hits.
I mean, oh my God. Apollo 13.
Tom Hanks was on a real serious glide there because he had done Philadelphia and won an Oscar for that. He did, Forrest Gump, Apollo 13. I mean, he was just rocking there.
3 straight Best Actor nominations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was fantastic.
Yeah. By all accounts, or you would know, but seems like just a guy. He's got a lot of Hanks, at least. A lot of regular dude in him.
Yeah. John's a good guy. And he's been, actually, he did one of those videos last year for us. For the kids, and he's been a supporter of my foundation, the Gary Sinise Foundation, and been a good friend. And we had such a good time in the 90s. I did 3 movies actually with them. The Green Mile, just a small part in the Green Mile, but it was a good day on the set with him.
Sorry, Gina, were you going to ask something?
Yeah, just curious because your path is so inspiring, and I'm sure a lot of us do little micro, size things of what you do, and it's so cool. I'm wondering, with all of your success as an actor and being so well known, at what point did you kind of look in the mirror and say, I think I got more in me, and I don't think I'm using it the way I want to use it, and I want to go into philanthropy?
Yeah, I would say kind of things in the 80s and 90s sort of teed me up to get more involved and to take action after September 11th. That no question. There's the last time I came on your show, my book was just coming out, and I think you were one of the first interviews that I did for my book, and it's called Grateful American: A Journey from Self to Service. And there's a chapter in the book called Turning Point. And it really is the September 11th chapter. What happened to me emotionally? Where my interests shifted, and how I went from kind of this focus on my acting career and building a theater company and doing all that kind of thing and starting in the movies and everything, to just taking all of that and shifting it into service work. And I wanted to help the men and women who were deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. I'd been involved with Vietnam veterans going back years and years, got involved with the Disabled American Veterans Organization in the 90s after I played the wounded guy in Forrest Gump, started supporting them. And I just felt like I don't want to sit around and just, not do anything. I want to help these people that are deploying, and they're getting hurt. They're getting hurt. We're losing them. Families are losing their loved ones here in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I just didn't want to sit around and do nothing. So it manifested into much more than I could have predicted, way back when I started.
What's your family history with service or the military? I can't remember if we talked about that before, or is there any?
Yeah, it's pretty extensive. So I would say that's where it starts. My grandfather, World War I, drove an ambulance in France on the front line in the Battle of the Argonne. The Battle of the Argonne is, in American history, we've never lost more people in one battle than that. It was over 26,000 lost in that. And he was driving an ambulance through all that craziness. Then he had 3 sons. 2 served in World War II, and my dad served in the Navy. My dad was the youngest of the 3, and he served in the Navy during the Korean War. Then I met my beautiful wife, Moira. She had 2 brothers who served in Vietnam. She had a sister served in the Army who married a Vietnam veteran who's served in the Army for over 20 years. They had a son who's served in the Army, went to Afghanistan twice. A lot of veterans in my family, so it kind of starts there. And I would say this, the Vietnam veterans on my wife's side of the family were the ones, because they were just slightly older than I was. My dad, my grandfather, my uncles, by the time I was old enough, they were well beyond World War II and Korea and everything. They never talked about any of it. But it was the Vietnam veteran side that really kind of woke me up. And I just started thinking about how oblivious I was as a high school kid in the early 70s to what our Vietnam veterans were going through. And then I met Vietnam veterans and they told me. And I felt kind of guilty about it, that I had been so unaware. And so I just took up the charge in the 80s to try to do something for our Vietnam veterans. And then I played one in the 90s. And then I was teed up for September 11th to go all in.
So you were on the Vietnam veteran bandwagon before Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah. The Vietnam veterans in my family really opened my eyes back in the early 80s. And so I started supporting locally. I had a theater company, Steppenwolf, in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And,
nothing.
I was that little thing. I was the artistic director, and I was starting to direct more of the plays. And I wanted to find something that was would tell the story of Vietnam, would tell the story of Vietnam veterans and what they were going through. And I found this play that was written by a group of Vietnam veterans. And they kind of wrote it as a sort of cathartic, sort of healing I got to get this stuff out kind of therapy. And it turned into this beautiful, powerful play. And I ended up doing it in Chicago. And then we would invite veterans to come for free. And it turned into a whole thing. And that really began my veterans work back in the 80s in Chicago.
What was it called?
The play was called Tracers. I write about it in my book, Grateful American. And it was first done in 1980 out in Los Angeles. And I read about it, and I flew out from Chicago and went and saw it. Was blown away by it. And they finally gave me the rights to do it in Chicago. And that really started the focus on trying to help veterans. I never thought at that time, that I would end up doing it as a life's mission, but I didn't know what I was going to do beyond theater at that point either. And the success in the movie and television business really gave me a lot of resources to do a lot of wonderful things, including building the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Well, you just earned yourself a plug. Go to the website, GarySiniseFoundation.org for more info. Doing the Lord's work. We need more Gary Sinise in the world. And I hope to see you performing again in person as soon as you guys are out and doing it again, Gary.
I'll look forward to that. I hope you can make it, Adam. I'll let you know.
All right. Thank you, Gary Sinise. Let me hit Edmunds here. Thanks to Edmunds for sponsoring this show. There's car shortages out there and a lot of increased demand. Edmunds has been taking the stress out of car shopping for over 50 years, keeping track of everything happening in the market out there to help you shop with confidence. There's a huge opportunity to trade in or sell your vehicle now to maximize the cash for your next purchase because there's a premium on previously owned cars. Get an instant cash offer for your trade-in online at Edmunds. Spend less time stressing at the dealership. Get most of the shopping done without leaving your home with Edmunds. Am I right, Dawson?
Car shopping can be stressful. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for vehicles in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
All right, we got the news, and we'll do that right after this.
Gina, can I jump into some breaking local news? I was wrong. Tom Hanks, not his third consecutive nomination. He did not get nominated for Apollo 13, but Forrest Gump was his third nomination, not consecutive.
Thank you.
Okay, it was bothering me.
It was bothering me.
I want to
You
say
have no
anything.
idea.
So I don't think this is going to be shocking to anyone, but the homicide numbers are up across the country this year, and 12 major cities have already broken records, with 3 more weeks to go in the year. Violent crime data shows, any guesses? What city is leading the race?
Well,
total or per capita, or does it matter?
Well, I'll tell you.
I'll go
739 homicides by the end of November, which is up 3% from last year.
Well, we are always kind of talking a lot about crime. There's certain cities, we was talking about Chicago, but like quietly St. Louis and Baltimore.
DC. True, but don't
DC.
sleep on Chicago.
Don't sleep on Chicago. All right. I know Philly's up a lot too.
You're guessing right at the top. Chicago, Philadelphia, Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Louisville, Portland, all breaking records. Some cities broke records. Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah.
So see you soon. According to crime experts, the rise in homicides likely connected to a strain on police staffing, which has caused a decline in arrests. A few cities like Minneapolis and Milwaukee are on the brink of breaking records as well. So go team.
We're going to talk to Alex Villanueva.
I'm very excited about
the
this.
The sheriff out here who's not dancing for the governor, I believe is the way I would
has a lot of independent thoughts.
Yeah, I think I first started. I've seen him on the news every once in a while, and I don't know how much he was a part of cleaning up Venice. I think, but
is Venice clean?
Well, they made a big move on the homeless. The homeless, they just literally just took over the beach, and then at some point, the homeless advocates, which again, that doesn't make you an expert. And by the way, how is it I know what side you're going to land on with homelessness. Like, where's the advocate that goes, we're going to get them cleaned up, we're going to get fucking straightened up and sobered up, we're going to rehabilitate them, we're going to put them in camps, they got to work, they got to learn a trade. How come that's never it? How come the advocate is just leave them the fuck alone? Yeah. I mean, it's basically,
let them flop
what kind of advocate is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a dude sleeping on somebody's porch. I'm an advocate for that guy. Leave him alone. Like, well, what kind of advocacy? Like, what if there was that? Like, what if you're an advocate for kids and the kid was just a failing student in the 7th grade? And
it's his choice.
Let it go.
And your process was to leave him alone?
Yeah.
Let him play out.
You get an Adam Carolla.
Right. That's what you end up with. Some kid looking at Frisky, sleeping on the floor, for Christ's sake. So,
disappearing.
Yeah, he went into Venice earlier this year, like wearing the cowboy hat, and was like, "I'm going to make this."
And the city council was like, "You can't." You know? And he was like, "Fuck you! Someone's got to do something. All your plans. It's a scary world, but it ties into the violence, which is." We've taken this shift of like, we got to sit down and talk about things all the time, you know, systemic this and reasons that. Before you know it, it's like we're reimagining policing or reimagining everything. It's like the guys with the guns are just killing more people while you guys are having this sort of esoteric discussions about how we're going to reimagine things.
Right.
And the homeless guy's not going anywhere while you're all reimagining this. At some point, got to get the boots on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know about Venice, but I'll be interested to ask Villanueva because at least in my neighborhood, a couple of miles inland, they've cleared out the homeless under the freeway a couple of times since that law passed.
Same.
It's also
and Brian, your grandma's Villanueva.
I'm sorry. Yes,
the thing about it is too. It's like everyone sits around and goes, "Oh no, this." You know, everyone always argues over the process. Like, this is not going to work. We can't do this, or it's not going to work, or can't do that. And then at some point they go, "Clean up the fucking park," and then 2 days later it's clean.
Right.
Like, you can do these things.
Very accomplishable.
It's pretty doable.
And my big question remains: when the Olympics comes here, how quickly is all this going to be quote unquote solved?
There's going to be some scrambling.
Yeah,
you're
because
right.
we're on the world stage and they know it's embarrassing, but they're kind of blind to it. But they're not going to allow that when the world is looking at Los Angeles.
Yeah, here's the problem that we're having. There's like defund this and pull back that. There's this false premise of like, people are just getting caught into the system. Mm-hmm. Like it's the combine and you're a rabbit and Vinny's dock running in front of it. It's not the school to prison pipeline. Is there a school to prison pipeline? How do you get sucked into the school to prison pipeline? Like, people are involved with crime, people. That's why they're getting into the system. Now we can go, well, what are some reasons why they're getting involved with crime? Maybe they don't have a dad around. Maybe there's missing some discipline. Maybe they need some more structure. But they didn't just fall into a prison when they stepped off their porch. So it's just like they're getting involved with this. And then we go...
Prison Combine.
The school to prison combine. And the coldest?
The coldest, that's right.
Would probably excel in that different kind of combine. But so then we go, again... The solving of the problem, it can be, why are all these people failing math? I don't know, get rid of the tests. I don't know, why are all these people in prison? I don't know, get rid of the cops. Okay.
Problem solved.
This is not, by the way, people in positions of power, this is no way to solve any problem, ever. And then they step back. Now, the thing about the get rid of the tests group, that takes... between 11 and 26 years to hash out. This shit's a fucking light switch. Pull the cops back, murder's up. Boom.
You see the results.
It's fast. And so then people go, oh, okay, we need to do something about this because it's kind of in your face. It's year-end average.
Yep.
It's up. It's double the amount. It's all statistical. It's figuring out the other horrible ideas. That's just cancer. That's just a slow burn. The people you're trying to help fall further and further behind. But it's not no video on the news that night of someone rich in Beverly Hills. A wife was shot and all that kind of stuff. So good. It doesn't work. And listen, if you just want to fucking talk about systemic this and systemic, like everyone wants to get to the problems. Like, we want to figure out what's going on the border. Well, all right, we'll go to Nicaragua and we'll figure out the root causes. Like, it's a systemic and a root, systemic and a root, systemic and a root. Not when it comes to violent crime. That's just cops and jails.
It is what are you going to do?
Cops and jails are the end.
We're much less interested in getting to the
beginning
root
is
system.
why do you have a 14-year-old who wants to shoot a stranger?
Right.
Where did that kid come from? Let's get root. Let's get a little root now. Start talking about the family.
I don't know about the governor because he's whack job. But in Garcetti's case, is it stupid or liar? Because you have to be embarrassed to be in charge of this city, and he doesn't seem embarrassed.
I don't think he's stupid. I think he knows he's just doing enough to tread water. You know what I mean?
I have the same thing. Like, I could not drive around and see masses amount of garbage and graffiti and homeless humanity just
Full
splayed
encampments,
all over
yeah.
the place, and plywood and visqueen and plastic tarps on every freeway and every underpass and overpass. If I ran the city, I would go. Look, I go insane over the coffee mugs. Right. Like, who's in charge here? What's going on? This is fucking horrible.
Rinse out the homeless before you use them.
It's weird. I don't know what era we're in, but it's some bizarre world, and it's like I'm watching, I'm watching Gavin Newsom on The Daily Show last night, and he's talking about being dyslexic. Ugh. Okay.
Hard scrabbled childhood.
I don't know. When did being dyslexic become like a point of pride for everyone? Oh, good. A governor can't read. That's awesome. What can you do a simple multiplication, or is that off the table too? You fucking dunce! Like I said, we have these fucking retards in Burbank. Like I was a homeless person. Oh, I'm beaming with pride now. Oh, because I've always said you want to get something done, give it to the homeless. Just fucking idiots. Who's the fucking idiot who's on the stupid Burbank city? Like, I'm on the spectrum of autism. I lived in my Winnebago for 10 years. Oh, great. You're the guy I want making decisions. Fucking awesome. This point of pride. Like, oh, great, the governor can't read. It's good.
Constantine.
Ugh. She's fucking wearing it like some sort of badge. By the way, they just do it so you leave them alone. Fuck you. Go get another job. Go fucking pick a garbage at the fucking park, you idiot. I don't need you setting policies. You're the guys who ran fucking Tin Horn Flats out of business. Maybe you have a little mental issue. I feel sorry for you. Get some medication and get a new gig. Get a job at the fucking Chipotle in Glendale. We don't do damage. We don't get to make decisions. So Newsom is up there, and he's like, I'm dyslexic, and he's really mad about the school system. The system, it's failing the school system. All right, how about school choice? But you're all fucking mobbed up with the teachers unions, and you don't want school choice.
If only someone could do something about it.
Yeah. Oh God. Now we're at the point where they preside over the city that's setting a record for murders, and they go, this is an outrage. It's like
something else to be done.
Jesus Christ.
I feel bad because this is the city I was born in, but are we going to have like some armed guards at our Portland show? Because I feel like we need it.
I got to tell you, like people are a little bit.
We got a pipe fitter coming.
People are a little bit freaked out. Like I'm starting to hear talk about, I'm going to get a taser, and I don't want to go to this show in Hollywood on Friday nights. Like a tough neighborhood. It's a little dark there. Like,
that's right.
I've never heard that kind of talk here in Los Angeles. Starting to hear it now.
Absolutely. I got 2 DMs from 2 people in the Portland area saying, hey, are you guys sure you want to come here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be fine.
We got Mike August.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We'll fight anyone on the street.
That's exactly right.
Hey,
I feel better.
Quick interjection. Can you pull your shorts down? I can almost see your nuts.
Seen Paul?
Yeah, they're hugging the nuts.
Let's see.
How come you get the front row seat?
I got fired up.
I know it. Believe me, the listeners are better off for it. But I'm doing my best to look at the sack.
Well, when a guy's getting down to work, he rolls his sleeves up. I do that with upper thigh.
About these homeless.
I think my X chair. I think the more I get animated,
don't blame the chair.
Well, it pulls up when I get animated.
Still grippy.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
There you go. Here we go. We're back.
Must we continue? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to something that we all want to see. Norman Lear and Jimmy Kimmel kicked off the 3rd live in front of a studio audience special Tuesday night with facts of life and different strokes. awesome. The Facts of Life cast, which we talked about, include Jennifer Aniston as Blair, Katherine Hahn as Jo, Allison Tolman as Natalie, Gabrielle Union as Tootie, and Ann Dowd steals the show as Mrs. Garrett. She was on both shows, of course. They recreated a real episode.
Is Mrs. Garrett black now?
No.
Oh, who was... Are we doing some racial swapping?
I don't remember any. Unless I missed
or is it the other show? Is it a Facts? There's Facts of Life and different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember any unless I missed something.
Well, you saw it. I didn't see it. Or maybe it's the maybe there's a Facts of Life. They usually swap out a race or two.
Well, they've done the Jefferson. Like, I don't think so. But
They've done predominantly black cat or shows, I guess.
Right.
Maybe I'm thinking Annie.
Oh, yes.
Got a black Annie.
Totally thinking of Annie. So this
here's what I'm leading to.
Yeah.
We'll give you Annie.
Great. Okay.
We'd like Tootie in exchange.
Oh, this is like,
this is
You know,
leave a penny, take a penny.
Draft. Yeah.
We need a red-haired chick playing Tootie.
Yeah, right.
Because you got Annie.
Right.
And we gave you
That's
Annie.
only
That's
fair.
a better...
Curly
Annie's
freckle
bigger
face.
than Tootie.
Yeah. Right.
You got the Karate Kid. Don't fucking complain.
Yeah, you want balance, don't you?
That's right.
Let's just give us Tootie.
Okay.
That's all.
It's fair. It's more than fair.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Well, this was a real episode from the, let's see, what season? Third season.
Oh, they did like a
real
Gotcha,
episode called
sure.
Kids Can Be Cruel. It was phenomenal. And there were some special guest stars. They had Jason Bateman and Will Arnett as like the two cool guys from, was it Bates? I think Bates was the boys' school, like across the way from Eastland School. And Jon Stewart as the brace-faced Rocky Price, who was kind of the butt of everyone's joke because he had the headgear. Here's a clip from the episode where Mrs. Garrett yells at the kids, the girls, for playing a joke on Rocky. Really fun, really well done. The guys were funny. Everybody played it straight. I don't remember anyone breaking up in the middle, which it was just a really, really fun episode. And of course, at the end of that episode, they interviewed, I think Jimmy interviewed Lisa Whelchel, who was Blair, originally, and Kim Fields, and Mindy Cohn. And of course,
original cast.
Lisa Whelchel had to show up in her original Eastland schoolgirl outfit. Just to show that everything's
season
kept
1
in
or
place.
season 4, because that is a different.
That's a good point.
They make car covers for
God.
2-seaters, and they make them for Winnebagos
You
as
make a good
well.
point.
But it's still a car cover.
Are those
true.
the only two they make?
they make them in between.
The implication is that
A nice
they're the
sedan.
size. Okay,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
She looked very nice.
Hey, I had a few milestones. I had my raft box relationship going. I had
One-way
the Adrian
relationship.
Barbeau black and white
Yeah.
picture. And then when I was 16, I had the sitting next to Lisa Whelchel at Beth Ringwald's Sweet 16.
Oh my God. You know how many boys would give an actual arm to be in that position?
Yeah, I mean, I was...
I'd have tried to give his arm.
I had no game at all. I just remember just sitting there, just sort of, was it a restaurant? It still may be there on Ventura Boulevard, an Indian restaurant called like the Marrakesh Express or the Marrakesh, or that movie, or Marrakesh, Moroccan, I guess. It was Marrakesh something. It was on Ventura Boulevard. It was, weirdo food when you're
Sure, totally.
16.
Too exotic.
Yeah, but kind of hip or artsy or something. And then we sat on the ground on like pillows and
maybe
stuff.
like
and I was
hookahs.
just staring at Lisa Whelchel.
Was she every bit as dreamy as she seemed? Yeah. Did she have the flowing Perel hair?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Big Perel hair.
That's great. Well, I'm going to show you an even shorter clip from the Different Strokes episode. That was really fun. Boys to Men came out and performed. Todd Bridges introduced them. Boys to Men came out and performed the theme song. That was John Lithgow as Mr. Drummond, Damon Wayans as Willis, and of course Kevin Hart as Arnold. And very special guest appearance by Snoop Dogg, who plays Willis's classmate. Here's a short clip.
It's all you needed. Just a good catchphrase.
Kiss my grits.
Yeah, man. Perfect.
No, it was fun. These are this is such a great, fun thing.
Well,
it's just,
we're talking about vinyl.
Yeah,
at the
right.
beginning of the show. Adrian Barbeau, raft boxes. This is all nostalgia. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
It's awesome. Let's get into the sports person of the year, shall we? That's what it's called now on Sports Illustrated. And no huge surprise.
I'd like to talk to the government of Haiti and just go, here's what we're up to.
Yeah.
Here's what we kind of occupy ourselves revisiting sitcoms from the 70s.
Beloved things from our...
What are you guys up to?
We're so done innovating, you have to go back.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we're done.
Take a look back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The sports person of the year for this year is...
Megan Rapinoe.
Tom Brady. Award given annually to an athlete, coach, or team best representing the spirit of sportsmanship and character and performance. Brady previously received the honor as a Patriot in 2005 following his third Super Bowl title. Bleacher Report says the 44-year-old is often considered the greatest of all time, also holds various NFL records, including for passing yards, passing touchdowns, and the most Super Bowl titles of any player in league history. So I guess that was kind of an easy pick.
I was talking to Sonny about this last night, and I was like, what? No. Does he have more Super Bowl titles than any franchise?
He's got 7 individually, right?
Right, 7 individually.
Yeah, 7, And no one other, no, more than Patriots, obviously. Yeah, because he won 6 with the Patriots.
Patriots have 6 overall. I mean, he's a quarterback who's playing in the league who's got more Super Bowls than any other franchise
than
in
the
league.
team. Yeah.
The teams he's playing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. Then we took a deep dive on Montana and Young.
Mm-hmm. Never lost Super Bowl.
Yep. And then, I was saying, well, Young was on the bench for a while with Montana, and Aaron Rodgers was on the bench, I think 3 years. We looked it up.
That sounds
3
about
seasons.
right, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of talent to be riding the pine.
And you're basically your prime.
Yeah,
it's about what Mahomes did the first 3 years.
I mean, you kind of wonder if that first year is a good year to spend on the bench. I feel like sometimes these guys get thrown in, they get busted up, or they get whatever. Like, wouldn't you want them just kind of shadowing a great, especially if you have a great in front of them?
Great will always. This has been studied before. Great will always kind of rise to the top. You have Peyton Manning, who started as as a rookie, went 3-13, had a terrible season, and look what happened to him. Then you have the Tom Brady's and Aaron Rodgers of the world who sat and came in and had great careers.
Steve
themselves.
Young's.
Yeah, so some guys can do it, some guys don't. But greatness will always rise to the top.
Yeah, I agree. It's just if the franchise is shit and your offensive line is shit and you're just running for your life, or you get injured, like Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's got injured or something.
He did last year. He busted up his knee. Yeah.
Anyway,
how were the Buccaneers before Brady? Were they like top half?
They've been good in the past. They won a Super Bowl. They've been the worst team in football at the beginning.
No more range than the old Bucs over there.
But him going there recently, was that like a punchline?
No, they were good and needed that last piece.
I see.
Kind of
quarterback.
Thing. I see. Well, let's stay with the Super Bowl and football, because 2 months away, several suites at the big game in Los Angeles' SoFi Stadium have already been sold for a record $1 million. The previous high for the Super Bowl suite was $750,000. That was last year in Miami. This is according to NFL. That means that in one calendar year, the league has been able to bump up the price for the most expensive suites by 33%. The NFL goes on to say that despite SoFi Stadium having over 250 suites, there's a waiting list.
Wow.
And we don't even know who's playing.
Is Carolla Digital on the waiting list?
I was going to say, you guys putting some money on one of those suites?
Corporate stuff?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's gotta
$1 million a suite.
Yeah, but it can also be one crazy millionaire who just wants to
I don't doubt there's
kick off his shoes.
But out there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know anyone that might be headed that way? It's local.
God, I don't know. I guess somebody, let's see, the Super Bowl's in, it's local. Somebody
Local
like
Norm's gotta be on
somebody
that.
like Jimmy will have some connection somewhere.
Well, do we know where the game's
like that.
airing? Is it on Fox or NBC? Because I'm sure that they're kicking down suites to some of their premiere shows or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. What's it air on, Max Pata? You can figure it out.
This is a far cry from, can our families come watch in a $33,000 stadium?
It's going to be NBC this year.
NBC, so not ABC.
Sorry, next year, Gina.
Oh, right. Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went to a Rams preseason game with my dad. The Coliseum was already 75 years old at that point. We just sat at the very top.
I've been there.
It was just
Baking.
cement. Just this is at night,
Okay.
actually, but freezing.
A stiff wind blow you out.
Yeah, no luxury boxes there.
Well, let's go back to the nostalgia factor because this is happening as we record this, so I can't wait to give you the results tomorrow. Happy Days star Henry Winkler is auctioning off a treasure trove of his Fonz costumes, and that's, again, happening as we record this. This is for TCM Presents Hollywood Cool. This is a sale at Bonham's Auction House in L.A. So it's complete with the Arthur Fonzarelli outfit, the jeans, the Levi's, the white T-shirt, black engineer boots, leather jacket. It's expected to go for between $50,000 and $80,000, according to Bonham's. The jacket,
The whole outfit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The jacket is one of at least 7 purchased for the show. That's according to the website. One of the jackets is in the Smithsonian, so they don't have that one. The Silver Triumph motorcycle the Fonz rode throughout the 10-year run is also up for sale. That's expected to go between $80,000 and $120,000 by itself.
Thoughts? First off, if anything is going the way this is going, they're all going to beat the high reserve number, the high estimate number, because that's just the economy's where it's at. People want stuff. I don't know how it works, but I say the stuff's going to go for more. Do you guys know the story that in the first season of Happy Days, Fonzie wore like a windbreaker?
Yeah, you pointed that out before. Was it a Letterman jacket or a windbreaker?
It was like a members only jacket.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
it wasn't the cool.
He wouldn't wear a Letterman's jacket because those are for the
That's
jocks.
a good point.
He didn't wear a leather jacket.
Right.
And they wanted him in a leather jacket, but the network was like, it's too aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like a street tough.
These are quaint. Those are quaint times where literally the jacket on the 5'9" Jewish guy was considered a little crossing the line there.
Pushing the envelope.
I have to look it up, but what was the other thing that like the motorcycle could only appear in a scene when he was in full gear, or there was something that like he had to be next to the motorcycle. What was
I don't
that?
know. I mean, they didn't have any like helmety stuff. I mean,
no.
Kind of wearing a jacket the businessman would wear on a weekend, just kind of a windbreakery. There was really nothing hoodlum about it or tough guy about it. It's so weird. It's just weird that the network would go, we don't. That's also a thing where networks need to give notes. And I've been in a million of those meetings where you just went, the fuck? Who cares what jacket? No, he's a motorcycle guy. He's the hoodlum. He's the guy. He works as a mechanic,
One executive had to be heard.
Doesn't need, and I swear to God, you sit in those rooms, I go, just give him that one. Just give it to him. There's a lot of like trading stuff. It's like, yeah, it's making our product a little shittier, but just give it to the retarded executive. Just give it to him. There's a lot of that. And it's like, okay, we'll swap out this joke with a slightly weaker joke because what's her name suggested or something. And it's like this weird trading process, but all you're doing is weakening the product or watering it down a little bit.
Yeah, and these are related because apparently he was only allowed to wear a leather jacket when he was riding his motorcycle.
Oh, that's it.
And then they finally relented.
Got to justify the
He does have to
wearing
get
of
off
leather.
sometimes, right? On a motorcycle.
Right, exactly.
He has to dismount.
So we'll find out tomorrow what those sold for. This is a few days old, but did you hear this Clooney interview that everybody was talking about? He did an interview with The Guardian about the movie The Tender Bar because he directed it.
No, I heard he passed on $35 million. Is that the one we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about. So he, in the interview, they said, like, how do you know you have enough money? And he said he turned down this unidentified airlines offer down because, quote, it was associated with a country that, although it's an ally, is questionable at times. And so I thought, well, if it takes a minute away from me sleeping, it's not worth it. He consulted his wife about it. I have a guess.
What country?
Are we talking El Al, Israel?
Oh.
That's my guess. I mean, maybe Emirates Airline.
You're seeing life through light blue colored lenses there, Gina.
My guesses are El Al or Emirates. But
I was thinking Emirates. I thought.
Yeah.
Well, I you know,
I don't think he'll ever say.
Israel's is weird because it tears the nation apart. But I'm like, I love Jews. I had a Jewish grandfather.
Really?
I had the Jewish kids I knew at school were the only ones who kept their shit together. Everything was just everything else was a clusterfuck. I like Israel. I like Jews. I've always been that way. And their neighbors don't have a track record of a great history, so I'm just going to go with them. Doesn't mean they're not things you'd like to change, but just based on the neighborhood they're living in.
Boy, are there.
I'll put my money on the Jews. So I always think, oh, come on, Israel, but other people
that could be naive,
especially in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're not down.
Yeah. So I'm very curious, but I doubt that'll ever be revealed. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah.
Okay. You and your unicycle, we all know it's a match made in heaven. Very cute, too, that you can ride a unicycle, but can you solve hundreds of Rubik's Cubes while you do it? Because that kid is now in the Guinness Book of World Records. 17-year-old Jesse Bradford from Canada. He broke the record by solving 300 Rubik's Cubes while riding.
I look at a Rubik's Cube like a fat guy looks at a chin-up bar.
No thanks.
It's
Not
like,
never, ever.
You want to give it a shot? Nah, I'm good.
Beyond the realm of possibility.
I could reach up. You can see my belly with the stretch marks on it.
Yeah.
And you watch me struggle.
Nobody wants that.
But I can just tell you now.
Not interested.
Not happening. Like
Well-
I looked at that. I never owned a Rubik's Cube. And I'd see a couple friends, right, and I kind of look at it and go, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah, you could just take the stickers off.
Okay, am I allowed to use my teeth?
Well, this
I think
kid,
I could do this.
This kid's got a little something called Moxie because I watched his story and he's already into Rubik's Cubes. That was a given. And he looked up, what kind of record could I break? And there was a unicycling one. So what did he do? He just taught himself to ride a unicycle. He decided I'll give that one a try. And to make it harder on you, to make it more sad, his father, they were like father-son duo. He goes, I'm going to set up all the chairs. I'm going to set up the Rubik's Cubes. He hands it to him. He called Guinness. He got all that stuff. He goes, you just focus on learning how to ride the unicycle. And he says there's even certain ways you need to scramble Rubik's Cubes for it to count for the world record. They had to have 3 different angles, camera angles, for 2.5 hours. Like, this is like serious shit. I don't know. We have tape somewhere.
I looked at, sorry, yeah.
Hey, it's me.
I looked at my, we used to screen calls. I looked at my unicycle just laying on the floor in the living room yesterday. I like zoomed in on it and went, so sad. So sad. When I was a kid, I would have been my number one activity.
Shiny.
Everywhere my house is walks right past. I brought it up to the living room. All right, sorry, we'll watch this.
Watch this guy. This is Dad.
After 2 hours, 13 minutes on the unicycle, and 300 solved Rubik's Cubes later, Jesse beat the record.
Wow. Pedaling around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I did. I took a picture of Phil, who's laying by the unicycle, Max Pat. I don't know if you have that Phil picture I sent you, but
The most interest anyone's garnered with the unicycle.
He literally just lays upside down.
Oh, my God.
On the middle of the floor. It's like I didn't grab him and twist him or nothing. No one even bothered him. He's not even doing anything.
He fears nothing.
I find him just laying.
He's an alpha predator, an apex predator.
Yeah, on his back. He just lays there on his back. It just gets in the way. And then the unicycle somewhere near him. But I do love this. I was with Sonny and Phil in my office last night, and Phil comes in. He uses his head like a ram. Pops the door open, and Sonny was just like hugging, like bear hugging, like pulling him down. And he's like, "I love Phil. He's a big dog." And like my friends have dogs, but they're not big. Like Phil's got a big box head and his big jowls and everything. And I was like, I'm so in love with this because when I was a kid, I wanted a big dog. Yeah. Like I wanted something like he sleeps on your bed, rolls over, like you wrestle with him and stuff. And I just loved that he was getting off on the fact that Phil was a big dog and he dug it. So good on Phil.
I don't remember Sonny's reaction or if he even had one in the original Christmas video where little baby Phil came trotting out and Natalia cried tears of joy.
I think Sonny was smiling.
Yeah, I was going to say, did Sonny have thoughts on that? Because I don't even remember.
I don't remember. We have that video somewhere.
It's my favorite.
It's cute, but Phil...
Sonny didn't care.
Sonny didn't care. Sonny's, he's not flappable.
Yeah.
I think he was actually like rattling off sports stats.
Do we have that VIN?
We're looking.
Well,
now,
let me hit Trico, and we'll see if we can find that. Over a century ago, Trico was the first to make wiper blades. They've been one step ahead of Mother Nature ever since. Trico engineers study your specific driving conditions to make sure you're ready for anything, even if it actually rains cats and dogs. Phil hits the hood. You're going to have to pull over, man. Whatever the weather, Trico wipers maintain maximum windshield contact. It's getting rainy out there. It's getting sleety. It's getting snowy. Driving around at night. Need to see clearly. Very dangerous. Get yourself some good Trico wiper blades. No matter what your driving habits, you'll always find the right wiper blade for your vehicle. Trico, the future of wipers since 1917. To find a store near you and see the latest offers, you visit Trico, catsanddogs.com. That is Trico, catsanddogs.com. Do we have that vid? Let me find it. It's young Natalia. I put the bow on Phil.
A lot of wires exposed in that house.
Sonny's rattling off stats. And look at the baby wandering.
What the heck is that?
Oh,
Who's that?
that little waggy
Push
tail.
Phil down the hall with the big bow on him.
What were you saying about a CP1?
Anyway.
Oh my God.
Boy, how the tables have turned with that
She don't
dog.
want that big smelly beast in her room anymore.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Phil's the cutest.
Oh my God.
Look at him pawing at her.
Look at that tail.
Sorry. Why are you crying? Tears of joy?
Smash cut to now. Get out!
Yeah.
Phil beat it.
All right.
It's too
Poor
good.
Phil. Phil goes where the getting's good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he shows up. The cutest thing ever is he shows up at the football Sunday, and cousin Sal brings his young kids. He's got, I don't know, he's got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old or whatever. And they
perfect.
just chase Phil around,
Amazing.
and Phil gets the ball.
Tire him out.
And they love him. I mean, he weighs more than they do. But I'll tell you the great thing. He picks up the tennis ball, and they just put their hand right in his mouth and everything. He's got
Drag
big
him
old
around.
fangs
Yeah.
on there, and they're just pulling him around, and he's
That's great.
gentle.
Hey, I don't mean to, speaking of home videos, I want to bring up a sensitive subject, but you watch your wedding video yet?
Jesus, Brian.
No.
No, that's one of his bits.
No, you watch him when you kill yourself.
Oh,
So not yet. It's got
I have a
about
question.
Don't
how
you
many
put the
days
shotgun,
until Christmas?
the toe in the shotgun holder?
That's when you watch it.
Follow-up question. No.
No, you watch it when you kill yourself.
We just got all our footage today. If you guys want to come over and check it out.
Awesome. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right, Wednesday, December 15th, coming up now. TJ Miller up there on stage at the Bray Improv, so you can check that out. I will be there doing Truth Yeller. We'll film it so you can watch it. And we're heading to Portland. Well, you guys know about that show, right?
Yeah.
We're going there on
Close
Helium.
out the year of the bang.
22nd,
literally.
23rd. And you can check out our Chassis Channel 687 on Pluto TV. Gary Sinise, GarySiniseFoundation.org for all the info. And until next time, Tom Crow for Mr. Skin and Gary Sinise and Gina and Bald saying mahalo.
Stalactites, stalagmites.
Hey, man, you want me to play one of your union corporate gigs? I got 15 minutes on TIG versus MIG.
Now, who else has got some story?
Don't get me started on argon gas, huh? Am I right, people?
Yeah, that's what we use, argon.
Oh, you fit right in.
Even Nick's board. Yeah, that's the use. All right.
No,